Hi, I'm Kathy Coyle, volunteer with the Becker County History, Science, and Children's Museum located in Detroit Lakes. We realize that we are living history right now because COVID-19 has totally changed our lifestyles, whether it be in rural Minnesota or whether it's worldwide. It's unbelievable. And years from now, many decades from now, people can look back at this videotape and see what life was like. They'll scratch their heads and say, wow, can you believe that? So businesses were closed, schools were closed, children were forced to go to their computers to be able to communicate with their teachers. Teachers had to learn how to pull off e-learning overnight practically. I mean, our lives totally changed in mid-March 2020. So now it's June 2020. We're in Lake Park, Minnesota, because we want to find out from the mayor the history of this wonderful pool and how they're going to pull it off, being able to open toward the end of June 2020 in the midst of this pandemic, because the governor has said things can slowly open. Churches are slowly opening if you have social distance and people are encouraged to wear masks. But I'm far away from my photographer, Kevin Mitchell, so that no problem there. But businesses have slowly been opening now after many months. Well, we're going to find out right here in Lake Park, Minnesota, how they're going to pull this off to bring back this wonderful pool. I'm with Keith Zachariason, the mayor of Lake Park. He's been the mayor for over 20 years. He's been on the city council, I think, over 30 years. Yep. And we are at the swimming pool, which I cannot believe was built in 1977.
That's correct.
Wow.
Yep, the pool was built in 1977, and a contractor we hired, and then we used a lot of volunteer labor down to assist that contractor to keep the costs down. So, yeah,
I got the impression that it was almost new.
Oh, no.
I mean, it looks great.
No. Many years, many swimming lessons have been taught here and whatnot. We used to get bussed. Well, when I was a kid, we were bused to Detroit Lakes Public Beach for swimming lessons. And then years later, we had our own access on Middle Cormorant that the school helped maintain for years. And then the pool was built with a lot of volunteers and local volunteer or donated monies for it. So.
And so a lot of volunteers were involved in making this. It's the pride of the city, right?
Yep, it is. It is. This park is for a town our size. We have quite a park. We have 3 softball fields here. We have a concessions building, a shelter, all kinds of playground equipment, a basketball, tennis court. Just a lot of good things we have here in Lake Park for the youth.
Yeah. And when you say the size of the community, what size is it?
About 800 people.
800 people. And you could call it a farm town, but it's becoming more metro with more housing over the years and a brand new school a couple years ago.
You know, we were at one time a pretty heavy farming community. We had 2 active elevators. Now we have basically 1 elevator belongs to a farmer, but pretty much we've become a bedroom community for Detroit Lakes and Fargo-Moorhead.
Yeah, a lot of people commute to their jobs.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Yep.
How are you going to pull this off? Now, I mentioned that COVID has changed life. I'm not right next to you, Keith. Usually I'd be right next to you, encouraging you to talk to me. But we're at least 6 feet apart because I don't want to spread any germs and you don't want to spread any germs to me, because we found out that people can be symptomatic and not even know that they have the COVID virus and be able to spread it. So here we are. But now you're going to open at the end of June 2020. How are you going to pull that off?
Well, we've been basically following the guidelines that have been set forth by the governor in the state of Minnesota, trying to do the best we can to work within the parameters of that. We are not going to offer lessons, because then when kids are real close to each other, kids are going to be no play toys in here. And so basically just mostly swimming, and we'll use punch cards for their fee to get in instead of handling the cash. There's lots of little things like that. We're going to try the best we can to do our part to keep things as safe as we can. The chlorine, you know, they figure will kill most anything on your body, but yet things come from inside your body that we need to be careful of. So
sure. And when you say the guidelines, Is it the governor's office that is setting those guidelines, or the CDC from the
Well,
federal government, or
It's
what?
a combination of both, you know, and we have basically gone 2 weeks at a time here ever since this started. We did not want to say we're closing the park, we're closing the ball fields, we're closing everything down for a year. We didn't want to do that. We felt that it was important that they be open if possible. So we've followed the steps through our liquor store, through our park, through our softball fields. When they said we could open them on a certain date, we've followed those guidelines as best we can for a small community, and now we're getting to the point where we're going to open the pool on the 29th, and I think it's going to be a great thing for the kids.
People are dying to get outside, be active, see one another. We can't hug anyone right now, so we do a virtual hugs or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, oh, that's going to be great. And how about you as mayor? How have you pulled that off? How do you communicate with your different departments and with your city council members?
Well, our council, we have been still meeting, but we've been social distancing at our meetings. We've asked our department heads to submit a letter to the council unless they felt it was really important that they need to be there and visit with us. And that's important that they have that option, but we've just always kept the social distancing and just tried to follow through once again with the guidelines that have been set forward to us from the state of Minnesota.
Any complications, the way the city's running or the way people are reacting to all of this?
No, I think most people have accepted it. I think people just know that this is going to be this way for a while, and that's just what we have to do. So
I think it was easier when it was winter, because as Minnesotans, we're used to being inside a lot in the winter.
Yeah.
But once spring came and now June, we're dying to get outside.
Yes, I agree.
And then you realize that you've missed people. You've missed being able to smile at people, and well, like I said, we can't hug, and we can't even get close to one another.
And if you're down here long enough, you'll see a carload of kids and their parents come down here and play for a while.
Yeah.
And then maybe another carload will come, and then as long as they're not too crowded, they keep going down there. But then maybe the third car comes down, and then the first group of people leave. So people they're watching out. They're mindful of themselves. They don't want to see this get shut down because somebody wasn't doing the right thing.
Yeah. So everybody's in on this together.
Yeah.
And before June, restaurants could not be open. So did you see people bringing their picnic lunches, that sort of thing?
I haven't seen any picnic lunches here, but our restaurant uptown, they've been doing a good job trying to stay open, and they've just basically, we're still doing a window service. So they publish their menu, you call up, tell them what you want, you drive up there and pick it up, delivered right out the window, just kind of like an old car hops and whatever would do years ago.
Yeah,
so.
blast from the past, the 50s.
You betcha.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
You do too.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we see some more city service people running around doing their jobs. And so they've been working the entire time.
Yeah, our utility department manages the maintenance and whatever of the pool here. We have 3 full-time employees in that department. They do just a great job of doing everything they can in this whole process. And it was kind of a unique opportunity, not just for this pool, but our liquor store got remodeled totally inside during this time period. It was something that was needed, and they've all kept busy. We've done the best we can. So.
And for people that don't understand the importance of a municipal liquor store, it brings in a ton of money to your city.
It brings in a lot of revenue to our community, and we take a lot of the profits from the liquor store, go into the parks here, because we feel that the money generated is generated from the Lake Park area. And the pool and the park is used by the people from the Lake Park area. So the revenue, excess revenue from the liquor store comes down here and is used for projects here in the park as well. So.
Now, you told me that you were a firefighter. It's volunteer here, right?
Yep.
And you did that for many years.
Yep, I'm on my 41st year coming up here.
You're still fighting fires?
Yep.
Okay. Obvious question. How about COVID and fighting fires? How has that made a difference?
Well, we fight fire, and we try to once again work within the scope, and we've been educated and managed basically by the state of Minnesota once again. And when the trucks return from being at a fire call, then they are wiped down.
Yeah.
And we received a grant here. Our fire chief wrote a grant, and we got a grant for a wash machine and a dryer so we can launder our clothes, because there's so many carcinogens in fires nowadays that they were finding out that firemen were dying because of their clothing wasn't cleaned. So now their clothing can be put in the wash machine and the dryer. It can be cleaned and dried and ready to go for the next use. And hopefully they're saving lives. So.
Is that because of the chemicals in the house that you're trying to protect, or in your own clothing as a fireman?
No, well, the chemicals in the house, there's so much plastics in homes nowadays.
Yeah, and then the
carpets, and even automobile fires, Freon refrigerant and whatnot in your air conditioning, and all the plastics in there. And they give off that smoke. Well, if you're fighting that fire, where's that smoke going? It's clinging to your clothing.
Yeah.
And you need to wash that out and get it cleaned up. So it's just things that people don't even think about, or
that you guys have to.
Yeah, we have to deal with that.
To think about. And how many people are on your fire detail?
We have about 22, I believe, right now.
Always looking for more?
Always looking for firefighters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that is a wonderful service that you're all doing as volunteers, risking your lives because you care about people. Now back to the pool. I'm tempted to jump in, but it's not even 70 degrees today. So
we've been letting Mother Nature warm it up.
Yeah.
But and last week Mother Nature brought the temperatures up really good because they had filled it last week. I think they said this morning it was at like 71 degrees. And once we get probably on Friday, they'll turn the heaters on and start to warm it up to around 80, I believe, is their number where they keep it at. Yep.
That's almost a therapeutic pool.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what you're supposed to be at.
Really?
Around 80 degrees.
And you've got the diving board and the whole bit.
Yep.
Well, it's a real treasure, and thank you for sharing it with us today.
Yep, we're glad you're here. Thank you for coming.
Okay,
appreciate it.
You bet.
You are